you have to understand, most people, when they say they're going to do something, they don't really think they're going to do it. There's nothing else more important in life and business than your word, because if you don't have your word, people will lose respect for you subconsciously. You have to cut off some friends? Yes, you actually do. Anybody that's not at a level they need to be at needs to evaluate really who they're around the most and who they're hanging out with, because sometimes what's more important than mentors is who you need to stay away from.
Top leaders, meaningful conversation, actionable advice, bulldoze complacency, ignite inspiration, create impact. Produced by Southwestern Family of Companies. This is the Action Catalyst.
Busy women, I'm talking to you. I know we have a lot of you in our audience. Do you feel disconnected or struggle with negative body image and insecurities that impact your self-esteem? Do you want to feel more confident, empowered, and connected with your body and create harmony within? Friend of the show, Faye June, has designed the 10-minute, 28-day positive body image workbook for women, a daily self-care practice to help readers reshape their body image, mood, and self-perception. In just 10 minutes every day, every exercise fits seamlessly into busy schedules. Each activity is easy and well organized. The writing is clear and approachable. And the best part, you have total control over setting your own pace. Plus, you get bonus downloads like an ebook with worksheets and meal plan strategies, guided meditations to support daily exercises or promote relaxation, and inspirational wallpapers and printable cards to keep motivated. The 10-minute, 28-day positive body image workbook is a fantastic resource to transform your relationship with your body and take your next step forward with confidence. Click the link in the show notes to learn more and get your copy today.
Grab a pen, because this is a name that you're going to hear often in the next few years. His name is Peter Voogd, and he's a podcaster. He's the CEO of GameChangersMovement.com. He first started in business at 15 years old. By age 22, he had the classic entrepreneur story, just broke and stressed. But then in a year later, he made a six-figure income. And within 3.5 years after that, he had made a combined total income of over $1 million. He now talks about that formula in 6 months to 6 figures. Peter, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to add as much value as I possibly can.
So I want to kind of zero in on the mental side of this, like breaking past that 6-figure mark. Do you agree that it's mostly a mental block?
Oh, 100%. I think, 70 or 80% of it, I think, is mental, because I see people that have capacity and the skills to get to 6 figures, but they're stuck making 60 a year because they can't get past the mental block. So I fully agree. I think there's kind of two parts to it. I think one is they're living in the gap, which means the gap of where they want to go, which is 100K, to where they are, maybe it's 50. They're living in wishing they made 100K, thinking they can't make 100K, and they're not appreciating and being grateful for where they already came and the progress they've made. So they're taking too much of a jump mentally, where it's almost like you get overwhelmed, and when you're overwhelmed, you seek distraction. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If they don't feel like they have that capacity or potential to make that 100K, they're not going to take the right action. And when you don't take the right action, you get small results. And then they reinforce to themselves, yeah, I knew I couldn't make 6 figures. And it's an ongoing thing. Whereas the most successful people make a definite decision that they're going to make that. They put the steps in place, they make a plan, and they take big actions. And that big action produces bigger results. And then they reinforce themselves, I knew I could do this. That's the first part, is that mental, that they live in that gap without actually having the right strategies and focusing on consistent progress. And I think they also compare themselves to others, which is definitely very miserable to do that. And the second thing, I don't think the people they're around or their circle of influence is congruent to that. Whereas if they're making 50K a year, their 5 best friends, if they add up the income of the people they hang out with the most, it probably averages between 50 and 60 a year. So for me, when I was broke, I remember hanging out with most of the people in my company, and they were struggling. And the sad thing is they were okay with it. So I reevaluated and figured out, okay, if everyone I'm hanging out with is okay with mediocrity and doesn't have the standards I want to live, I need to shift my influence. So I think it's a mix between that living in the gap and then not having the right circle of influence to really pull them up to the higher standard of six figures. And I feel like if people are so focused on six figures that they forget that they need to make 70 and then 90 first to make 100, it's going to get them demotivated. So when I was, for example, we wanted to go for, I remember when I was new to direct sales, I wanted my office to shoot for a $40,000 a week in sales. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I was dedicated to it, but I didn't know how it was going to happen. And I would think in my head, oh, if I could just do 40 grand in a week, that is just, I would be on top of the world. Fast forward to the next summer, we were doing 130K weeks, and I was mad if we didn't do 100. It's not that I totally changed atmospheres and environments and I had new people. No, it's just my capacity shifted because I consistently elevated my results. So I think that's the key too, is not focusing on doing the huge numbers right away, but having the action steps and making sure you have progress checks along the way. And then on top of that, connecting with people that are already doing it so they can cut your learning curve in half and you can get there quicker.
Yeah. Well, if you say this is what I'm going to do, then you are forcing yourself to come up with a plan to do it. But if you say, this is something I'd like to do, but I don't think it's really possible, you're forcing yourself to live in that conundrum of, I don't think I can ever pull it off.
Oh, 100%. And one of the biggest keys that I talk about in my book is you don't have to come up with the answers. If you want to make six-figure income, or if you want to become a best-selling author, you have to find the best people that have already done it and be persistent and start connecting with them so they can give you the answers, what they did well, what they would do differently. And that way you can literally cut your learning curve in half. I didn't know how to be a best-selling author and number one on Kindle. I found a team that already did it and gave me the steps. They need to go find the best people and near them and mentor them and ask them questions and take them to lunch, because that's how they're going to get to the next level. And you're either hanging out with people that are holding you accountable or letting you off the hook. There's no in between.
Yeah, it is wild. So give us some more practical things in terms of, let's say I'm listening to this and I'm one of those people that going, yeah, I've been stuck and, could be any plateau. What are some of the tangible things that I could start doing to help me go from, broke to six figures in 6 months? Or if I'm at 200,000, how can I add another six figures in 6 months? What are the practices?
So I'm excited. Good question. So, yeah, and I pride myself in being more comprehensive and practical versus like motivational, where it's like, you just got to do it, right? Mm-hmm. I know a lot of folks that are like, just do it. But the reality is you do have to have practical steps and tactical steps as well. So, well, the first step really is you have to gain absolute clarity on who you are, what your strengths are, and who you need on your team. And then you have to reverse engineer. So the most people I've talked to, whether they're making 250 a year, whether they're making 60 a year, they don't have a clear and precise bulletproof plan on how to get to the next level. So they haven't clearly defined exactly how to get there. So one thing I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk, he always has an ideal outcome within the next 6 months to a year. So what I would ask people is, have you figured out your ideal outcome in 6 months? What's your business look like? How involved are you in your business? What's the ideal culture of your business? Getting personal, how much money do you have saved? How much money are you making monthly? What does your team look like? What feelings are you experiencing the most in 6 months? If it was ideal, what are the answers to these questions? That's really the first step, is figuring out who you are and figuring out what your values are and really what your big five is for the next 6 months. What are your top 3 goals for the next 90 days? And then what I have people do is they write down their top 20 most compelling reasons. And here's what I found in training thousands of people. 80% of those reasons are BS. They're materialistic. They don't even wake you up in the morning. What the heck are you writing these reasons down if you're already sleeping in or pushing the alarm clock? You got to find, out of those 20, find 5 reasons that drive you, like your kids, or you're sick of your boss telling you what to do. When you find 5 internal reasons that drive you, you'll never lack motivation again. So then you find out your compelling reasons and then what key behaviors are needed. So that's the first step, is getting that absolute clarity. So once you get clear on kind of what you want and what you're willing to give up to get what you want and realize you have to sacrifice, the next step is increasing your confidence account, because every single person has an account inside them called their confidence account. clarity is great, but without the right confidence, you're not going to accomplish much. So there's 5 really crucial components to an unshakable confidence. And I mean, I can go through them, but the main ones are, you have to watch every choice you make because they make you. Every choice you make is either helping or hurting your confidence. So you have to be aware what you're doing with that confidence account, because once you get clear, you're going to be more motivated, but then you have to take the right actions to continue elevating your confidence. So your perspective on challenges, understanding that the bigger the goal, the bigger the challenges, is a huge part of confidence. Consistency is a huge part of confidence, because I think the scariest things in life and business are momentum and lack of momentum, right? So you want to keep up the momentum. And then 4th is your identity. You have to develop an identity with yourself that whatever you say, your actions follow. I think a big confidence killer is lack of follow through. You have to understand, most people, when they say they're going to do something, they don't really think they're going to do it. There's nothing else more important in life and business than your word, because if you don't have your word, people will lose respect for you subconsciously. So the next thing after you gain confidence is shifting your circle of influence and figuring out who you spend time with and how are they influenced. Then you make a list of your top 5 growth friends and maintenance friends. Growth friends are friends that challenge you, that have results that you want, that are living life at a higher level, playing the game at a higher level. You want to increase your time with them. Maintenance friends are friends you met in high school and you feel bad not hanging out with them, and maybe they're working at the mall, but you like it. It's fun to hang out with them, but they don't really help you as far as advancing towards your biggest goals and dreams and helping your legacy. So you got to lower your time with the maintenance friends. You have to cut off some friends. Yes, you actually do.
Somebody who's older, do you think that they have maintenance friends, or they have people that they should really think about that they may have to cut some ties with?
I think really anybody that's not at a level they need to be at needs to evaluate really who they're around the most and who they're hanging out with, because sometimes what's more important than mentors is who you need to stay away from. So, I mean, it's not as much as the younger generation, but I definitely feel like there is some older people that really might still have people that kind of drag them down versus pull them up to higher standards. With this, you need to find your top industry leaders, pinpoint the top 5 people that are doing what you want to do, and reach out to them. So that's the next step, is shifting your circle of influence. And then once you shift your circle of influence, you got to make sure you keep a consistent inner drive and motivation and energy as well. And obviously, I don't want to talk too much about energy, but you got to make sure you're energized physically, mentally. And then once you kind of figure out what results you're getting, you see your results going up because you have a higher influence, you have clarity, you're building your confidence. Then one of my favorites is you create result rituals. I think every problem in people's business lives is just the lack of systems in place. I really think that's a big issue for most people. I think the amount of stress people have in their life or business is in direct correlation to the lack of systems or rituals they have in place. So then you kind of figure out what rituals have consistently been proven to get results. And once you figure out what systems deliver predictable results, then you put them in place. And you can put in mindset rituals, productivity rituals, health rituals, wealth rituals. And then the last one is just continual growth and learning, which obviously we don't have a ton of time, but that's just continuing to reach out to high level people and becoming a people developer, standing on the shoulders of giants and learning how to reinvest your profits back into yourself and back into your business and staying with that clarity. So really that's the kind of the 6 steps simplified.
I love it. Well, Peter, I really appreciate you being on the show, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, you guys.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And thanks for listening.